It's 3 in the afternoon and you're standing in front of the vending machine outside the break room. A dollar already folded between two fingers. You didn't decide to be here. Your legs just walked you here the way they do every single afternoon around this time. The machine hums. You feed it the dollar without reading the buttons because you already know which one you're going to press. A bag of something salty drops with a thud you've heard 1,000 times. You eat it walking back to your desk. By the time you sit down, you've already forgotten you did it. That's the whole trick of a dollar. It disappears clean. No guilt big enough to notice. No memory long enough to keep. Hold that dollar in your mind because this is a story about that same dollar every single afternoon for 40 years and about two different people it quietly builds. You're 25, it's the next afternoon, same machine, same hum. This time your hand doesn't reach for the buttons. You open an app on your phone instead, one you downloaded on a slow lunch break out of mild curiosity more than conviction. You move $1 into an index fund, not a stock, not a bet, just a small slice of the entire market at once. The screen shows a balance of $1. It looks like nothing because it is nothing. You feel a little ridiculous, honestly, like you just planted a single seed and called the empty pot behind it a garden. There's no rush to it, no number flashing red or green, just $1 sitting quietly inside something that owns a fraction of a few thousand companies you'll never personally set foot in. You do it again the next afternoon and the next. Eventually, you set it to happen automatically so the dollar leaves your account before your legs can walk you to the vending machine at all. You stop noticing it's gone. It was always going to disappear either way. You just changed where it disappeared to. You're 26, a year in. The balance reads $381. You put in $365 of that yourself. The market handed you the other $16 while you weren't looking. $16. It's almost funny how small that number is. You mention it once to a coworker, half as a joke on yourself. He asks how much you've made. You tell him. He laughs. Not meanly, just honestly. It's $16, he says. I probably spend that before lunch most days. He's not wrong. Between the vending machine, the drive-through on the way in, and whatever app game he's chasing achievements in, his dollar a day is closer to 5 or 6, scattered across a dozen small comforts he couldn't list if you asked him tomorrow. You don't argue with him. You just close the app and go back to work. The difference between you two this year isn't the $16, is that you now have a habit nobody else can see. You're 30. 5 years of afternoons like this. The balance sits at $2,329. You've contributed $1,825 of your own money. The rest showed up out of nowhere, or at least it feels that way, the same way rent shows up out of your paycheck without you consciously deciding to pay it every month. One night you actually sit down and do the math, and that gap between what you put in and what's there is roughly equal to every vending machine snack you didn't buy since you were 25, except instead of sitting in a trash can somewhere, it's sitting in an account with your name attached to it. That same year, a friend calls you genuinely excited, talking fast about some coin he found online that's up 300% in a week. He's put real money into it. He tells you your little boring fun is a joke next to what he's about to make. You've seen this shape before, actually, not in an app, but at that same vending machine in the way a jackpot number climbs before it resets to 0. The promise that something small becomes something huge instantly with nothing in between. You tell him you'll pass. He laughs it off and buys more. 4 months later, he stops bringing it up. You never ask what happened. You already know the shape of the story. You're 35, 10 years in. The balance is $6,079. You put in $3,650 total. That year, the whole market drops hard. The news uses words like correction and downturn like they're trying to make it sound smaller than it feels. Your balance falls by almost a third in a matter of weeks, more than you'd normally save in an entire year, gone on paper in a single bad month. A different coworker, one who'd been proud of timing the market before, tells you he pulled everything out and moved it to cash, that he saw this coming. You don't pull anything out. It's less a brave decision and more that you simply don't open the app for a while. The dollar keeps leaving your account automatically either way, buying more of the fund while it's cheaper than it's been in years, whether you're watching or not. You're not fearless. You're just distracted enough to do nothing, and doing nothing turns out to be one of the harder skills to actually practice with money. Or you're 40, 15 years, the balance is $12,119. You've contributed $5,475 of your own. For the first time, the amount the market has added is bigger than a small emergency fund most people your age don't have at all. A coworker gets let go that spring with nothing behind him, no cushion, nothing between that paycheck and the next one showing up. You don't say anything about the number sitting quietly in your account. You just realize for the first time that it was never only about some distant retirement. It's a wall you built $1 at a time, mostly by accident, between yourself and a bad year turning into a genuine crisis. You're 45, 20 years of afternoons. The balance reads $21,847. You put in $7,300 total. The growth this single year is starting to outpace what you actually contribute. The account is quietly doing more work than you are. You go to a cookout that summer. Someone shows up in a car payment they mentioned twice, unprompted. Someone else is deep into a home renovation they can't quite afford, but talk about like it's already finished. You drive the same car you bought used 6 years ago, paid off, asking nothing more of you. Nobody at the cookout knows what's sitting in your account because you've never once brought it up. It was never loud. It never needed to be. You're 50, 25 years. The balance is $37,514. Total contributed $9,125. You start noticing headlines about people your age with almost nothing saved, about how retirement feels increasingly out of reach for people who did everything they were supposed to do. You had the same salary as most of those people, paid similar rent, sat in the same traffic every morning. The only real difference is a habit small enough that you never had to feel it. $1 redirected on autopilot for 25 years straight. You're 55, 30 years. The balance is $62,745. You've contributed $10,950 across 3 decades, one folded dollar at a time. This is the year the math genuinely flips. The account now grows more in a single strong year just from its own size than you could add by hand, even if you tripled your daily amount. You become something like a passenger riding along with your own money instead of the one pushing it forward. You're 65, 40 years since that first ordinary afternoon at the vending machine. The balance is $168,823. Sit with that breakdown for a second because it tells the whole story in 3 numbers. Of that amount, what you actually put in, they $1 at a time, roughly 14,600 afternoons in a row, comes to $14,600. The other $154,223 is growth, money you never personally earned an hour for, never watched arrive, barely noticed leaving in the first place. You didn't get lucky. You didn't pick a winning stock or catch a trend or time anything correctly. You just skipped a vending machine snack about 14,000 times in a row and let the smallest amount you could reasonably invest sit in the most boring possible place for the longest possible time. That's the entire mechanism. There's no second secret hiding underneath it, no faster version where someone hands you the $154,000 sooner. The slowness was the actual cost paid in a currency, time, that most people aren't willing to spend because 40 years doesn't fit inside a headline. Your old coworker, the one who laughed at your $16 back when you were 26, retires the same year you do. Same job the whole way through, roughly the same paycheck. He spent his $1 a day on a few thousand small, forgettable comforts along the way. Over 40 years, if he'd invested it instead, it would have added up to the same $14,600 principal as yours. He just didn't. He has a lifetime of vending machine snacks and drive-through coffees to show for it, and you have those same small comforts mostly, plus $168,000 sitting quietly behind your life like a second income that was building itself the entire time nobody was watching. Nobody can point to the exact day the two of you ended up somewhere different. There wasn't one single day. There were just several thousand identical, forgettable afternoons, each one asking the same tiny question all over again until the answers stopped feeling like choices at all and just became two different lives. Somewhere right now, it's 3 in the afternoon and someone is standing in front of a vending machine with a dollar already in their hand. It isn't wrong to press the button. A dollar really is nothing. That's always been the trap in the door at the exact same time, and it's too small to matter, which is exactly why almost nobody protects it, and exactly why quietly it ends up deciding almost everything for the handful of people who do.